left our campsite in Darwin and just headed south and pulled up at the Adelaide River War Cemetery. Had another look around there. Been there in the 70s and they had all the white crosses in rows like they do, those war cemeteries. But now they've got it all cleaned up. Well, yeah, it's all changed. They got rid of all the crosses and all that sort of stuff, but it's really well manicured, but I think it's lost something in its like its impact. And having all them white crosses now, it's just got little headstone things that it doesn't have the same impact to me as all them white crosses, because you can see when you walk in the gates, you just see them all. But anyway, whatever. But they upgraded that. Oh, I did hear when it was, I don't know, probably 20 years ago now. But yeah, from when we went there in the 70s, it's changed a hell of a lot. So anyway, I had a look around there, and then I like these what I call it, speed limits up there. Not pulling a caravan like we got. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, she's 130 km/h speed limits. And old Pine Creek, pull in there, have a bit of a look around there. And our first camp couldn't get anywhere all the way, because I normally pull up in gravel pits and stuff, and every time you looked out the paddock there was a caravan or 2 or 10 of them sitting there. So it was getting dark, running out of daylight big time, so we found a bit of a clearing underneath the power line in the grass. That was our first night's stopover. And then the next real stop was Mataranka. I had a look around there. They've done a lot of work there, like in historical park and all that. What you call them little things, statues made out of concrete or whatever, depicting the old days, and old black stockmen and stuff, and on their horses, and yeah, so they've done a lot there. And you get this Elsie Station Cemetery, and when we had a look at that, when we went up in the 70s, it was on the side of the road, but now they've shifted the highway, so you've got to go into it. But it's the cemetery that was in the book, The Where the Never Never, the woman that wrote that. That was the cemetery that's involved in that story, that Elsie Station, and it's a fairly historical thing from way back in the 1800s or whatever, when she came out from England, I think, from memory, and just as a girl, and went up there onto that station, and that's when the country was wild, and the Aborigines are still running around in the scrub, and she was the only white woman in what would seem to her like the world, really, because even now it's a long way from anywhere up there, and imagine in the horse and cart days, my God, Father. And then you get the old Larimer's Pink Panther pub, and that's definitely a place to visit. But yeah, got to book a spot there too, mate. There's caravans there by the 100, and it's an old tin shed, like it's one of them organic things where they built a shed, and then they built a bigger shed, and a more shed, and more shed, and they got gear. Just there's money from all over the world stuck to the roof. There's a bloody heap of bras hanging on the wall there. They just got, like, it's one of them places you just got to go and have a look. Wouldn't appeal to a lot of people, but by God, by the look at the caravans and stuff there out the back, and it appeals to heaps of people. They got museums, all sorts of stuff there. Now, it's a real quirky joint it is. So it's definitely worth a stop. And if you can fit in, you can camp there for the night. They got caravan park, plenty of just parking big street, the thong tree. I had a bit of a look at the Overland Telegraph. Where they work from north to south and south to north, and where the two teams met up and they joined the wires up. And the historical thing there, there's a marker thing, what do you call them things? Tall skinny post things. And the old original telegraph line where they actually joined the thing up. It's the actual spot. That's another historical thing. Look into that sort of stuff. The second night on the road, we couldn't find anywhere to get off the road either, so we ended up in a looked like a station driveway, only like 20, 30, 50 mil, 30, yeah, it wouldn't be that far, only like 20 metres off the highway. So you just sort of park where you can get a park. Used to be able to just get off the roads anywhere out there, and yeah, they got stupid fences everywhere now. John Flynn Memorial. It's on the highway just north of the Three-Ways turnoff, just north of the Three-Ways Roadhouse actually. He's the bloke that started the Flying Doctor. Apparently Australia's the only place that's got Flying Doctors too. And in his old, what are them things, old balsa wooden bag or something, planes they had in them days. But anyway, I used to fly to all the remote stations and missions and things out there in the early days, and now the Flying Doctor is one of our main emergency things. If you have car accidents or whatever, they fly to Brisbane. It's a very important thing. There's heaps of people's been saved with that, on the stations and that, the accidents out, the horse falls and all that sort of stuff. That's a really good thing. And then the actual Three-Ways Roadhouse, it's a bit of a big shell servo there, but one of the interesting things about it is on the northern wall of it, they got a mural of a Mack fuel tanker, a big old superliner Mack, and the bull bar, that's an actual bull bar hanging on the wall. Whoever done that is pretty handy too. And you leave there, yeah, nearly 200 goes to Barclay Homestead. There's nothing out there. So if you're one of these people that don't like sitting in cars for a long time and long drives with nothing, don't go out there, because there's plenty of that. Me, on the other hand, I enjoy that stuff. You just sit back and sail along. We've gone over to Barclay Roadhouse. It's a pretty big setup there these days. When we were out there the first time, there was nothing there. And yeah, she's a proper big roadhouse there now with caravan park at the back and fuel, food, whatever. It's like, yeah, get whatever you want there pretty much, I think. If you can pay for it, that is. But yeah, it's a good stopover. And a cup of coffee again. And keep poking on then to Camel Wheel. And then we get back to the old Queensland border, over our fence back into our home state. So we're still 2,500 k's away from home, but we're in our home state now. So I'm in the horse paddock. There's not much out there with that old border crossing there. She's a fairly desolate old spot, that is. And then the next camp was Camel Wheel. You know, caravan park there, fairly big one, and you go up the pub for meals and whatever, and it was pretty good. So that's a pretty reasonable sort of a stop. They got a big roadhouse and all stuff out there now. So then from Camberwell, she's a run into Mount Isa. That's 100 and nearly 200 k's as well. Mount Isa's a big city, so you can spend a week there looking around if you want. There's a fair bit goes on there. And then when you leave Mount Isa, you go through a bit of mountain country, which is totally different from back there. She's just all flat for hours. And the Cloncurry turn-off is where we normally, if we're going back to Rocky, that's the fork in the road. Just go straight ahead to Townsville, turn right, takes you down the Capricorn Highway, Longreach, and into Rocky that way. But my daughter's in Townsville, so we went and spent a bit of time over there. The next night we camped at Julia Creek campground thing, and it's about a kilometre from town, I think. And there's a concrete walking track back to town. It's a free park, but you've got to book in because they used to have all the feral backpackers and stuff setting up camp and rubbish there everywhere. There was a bloke sitting there with a big fifth wheeler, and he's like the caretaker thing, so he just didn't cost you anything, but just had to get a permit of him to log who was there and who wasn't, or whatever. But one little drawback, it doesn't happen a lot out there, but if it rains, mate, that's all black country, and yeah, it was a bit of a shower overnight, so it can be a little bit of a struggle getting off your site. It's a bit slippery, that country. So after we left there, parking across that country there, got the biggest headwind. I was down, I think in third gear sometimes there. Just dragging headwind, put my fuel through the roof, and following these road trains, and no one will get around them, so I just had to sit behind them all the way. So anyway, the interesting thing in Richmond, they got a dinosaur thing there. These I don't know, a Coronosaurus or something. I can't pronounce what it is, but anyway, it's a marine reptile, and he was found on a station at 48 k's south of Richmond, and he was collected by some American geologists in 1931 and taken back to America, and it took them 25 years to assemble it, pull it out of the mud or whatever it is they do with it, and assemble it, and it's now on display in the Harvard University. So they got a replica thing out in front of this place, and in the back of there, in that shop behind there, there's a little bakery, and it's got the bestest pies, and a little bit strange, we've got a grandson that's a connoisseur in coffee and pies, so we bought him some pies from here and took them home for him for his Christmas present. They're pretty good pies. Now then, she's just a run into Townsville. Spent a couple of days with the daughter there, and then down the Capricorn Highway back to Rocky, and that's the end of that trip. I'll get the specs off it and put it on the end of the thing here. We got all the specs and the fuel economies and all that sort of stuff. But about 15,000 k's or something. About 2.5 months, 3 months. Anyway, I'll find all that out and tag it on the end.
Kilometres travelled was 13,702. Time taken was 7 weeks and 2 days. Average kilometres on a travelling day was 652 kilometres. We budgeted $11,000 and our actual spend was $10,295. This was a cost per kilometre of 76 cents. The diesel used was 2,135.7 litres. So average fuel usage was 15.59 litres to 100 k's. Total cost for this fuel was $3,202 and is the largest single cost. Food spend was $2,314. Now, this was taken up mainly by takeaways and eating out. Camp fees was $679, which was 21 nights in paid caravan parks. Tours, $2,030, with the largest single spend being the Bungle Bungle Home Valley Joy Flight. Entrance fees was $320. This was for museums, national park passes, places of interest. Running repairs cost was $825, with the major spends was for brake control repairs and a tyre. The dearest diesel was at Tillmouth Well Roadhouse at $1.999. The cheapest diesel was at Coolangatta in Darwin at $1.38.7. The dearest camping fees, and this was for a powered site for 2 people, was $40 per night at the Coolangatta Caravan Park in Darwin.
Righto, where are we going next?
I don't know. That way?
Check us out for the next one.